Now calling Dr. Ammar Al Balushi to talk about marketing analytics and its impact on organization success. Dr. Ammar Al Balushi is an assistant professor and head of the Faculty of Business Management at Majan University College. Dr. Ammar completed his bachelor's in computer engineering at Glasgow, Caledonian University, UK, a master's in international management from Strathclyde University, UK, and a PhD in marketing and tourism development from GCU London. Before joining Majan College, Dr. Ammar worked for many years as an assistant professor in the University of Essex, UK, in Glasgow, Caledonian University. Before his academic work, he worked as a general manager for 2 hospitality firms in which he managed the operations of employees across a range of disciplines. Quite impressive career. Where are you, Dr. Ammar? Is that you? MashaAllah. Okay, Dr. Ammar, Head of Faculty Business and Management, Majan University College. Floor is yours for 20 minutes. Enjoy and have fun.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. It must be challenging, to be listening to me right now after that amazing lunch that we all had. But I'll try to keep it as short, as simple as I can, because I'm tired myself, to be honest, not because of the lunch, it's because of the amount of amazing information that we've heard today here. Story time. 13 years ago, before 13 years ago, before joining academia, I started working as a general manager for one of the hotels in Oman. And in that capacity, I faced various challenges. One of the first challenges I faced is how could I drive profitability of this asset of a hotel that I'm managing? How can I drive the return over investment, the ROI? There are so many questions, such as how can I develop new products or services for this hospitality industry? More importantly, I was looking at my partners in the industry, travel agents, for example, and I was asking myself, how could I increase and strengthen the relationship between myself as a hotelier and those travel agents? More importantly, how can I convince them to put me on top of the list that, as a partner in that sense? How can I price my products and services in this competitive market? Now, I'm sure so many managers here started their business, or managers who are already running their business, they already faced similar questions. They already had similar questions. But I'm also sure through my contacts and with the industry that many chief marketing officers, CMOs, managers, they depend on their gut feeling, intuitions, rather than depending on the facts. This is why marketing analytics can play a very important role. Marketing analytics, provides you with one version or few versions of the truth, provides you with information and security, and provides you with a rationale for those decisions as marketeers to drive your organization forward. Now, this is why I've chosen this topic. It's an important one, the impact of marketing analytics on organizational success. So the session would be short. Obviously, we can't talk about analytics without talking about data, isn't it? Big data. Data is at the heart of it, at the core of it. We'll go through marketing analytics, what is it, and how it's related to the organization's success. And then I'll touch upon a new branch. I'll touch upon it because it's a field by itself, and which is emotional analytics. And then I'll end through some pointers that can guide us into the situation, the financial importance of marketing analytics in the market. Now, marketing. We know marketing. If we think about marketing and the revolution of marketing, we could think about a person who's knocking on your door trying to sell you something. or you trying to navigate in a retail shop, a physical one, trying to buy a product. This has changed and transformed into sitting on your computer, seeing digital ads across your LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram accounts. What has changed there? Did you change as a consumer? No. As consumers, value-cautious consumers, value for us did not change. As value-cautious consumers, if we are cautious in a retail shop, we'll be the same, cautious level would be the same online. But what has changed is the amount of information that is gathered by organizations, the amount of data that they are having when we are navigating online, when we are talking to one another, interacting with those websites or with other people online. This is why marketing analytics can play a big role. And this is why it pops up the big question: what is data? Now, data is at the core of it all. Data is raw facts by itself. It's meaningless. It's text, could be tables, could be numbers, but when they're put together, processed together, they tell us beautiful stories. Stories about how we interact with one another. How do we feel when we are using a particular product or service? What pictures do we like? What products we feel affiliated to, loyal to? And more importantly, how we behave online. Now, this realm has pushed the concept of big data, and big data is all about that, is about having and looking at data everywhere around us and trying to understand what those pieces of information means for us. So, what is marketing analytics? Marketing analytics is a study that is used by gathering information from the marketing campaigns that has been implemented by companies to understand the conversation, the interactions that are happening online with the consumers. For example, what are their preferences? What do they behave? How do they react with products? Now, the goal to study this pattern is to develop more sustainable campaigns that helps companies to succeed in a market. Now, in the hotel, just taking you back to the example, in the hotel field, that was quite helpful because I was blinded with the lack of information that was in front of me. But as soon as I digged and found the data that I required through reports, through analysis, right, I managed to understand how effective my approaches were. Where did I lack when I've decided to go through a different direction? So marketing analytics helps managers and decision makers to measure the effectiveness of their approaches, to measure also and evaluate the effectiveness of the channels that they use, whether they are promotional channels or other channels that they have used to market and promote their product. Marketing analytics is important because it also looks in detail at a micro level at how consumers view your product. What do they feel about it? What do they feel about that promotion that you have invested so much money on? What do they feel when they interact with your product, when they are opening the packaging for the product that you have developed? Now, this is extremely important because it measures the effectiveness of a brand in the market. And for me, as a hotelier, brand was everything because it's my position in the mind of the consumers. And data can tell me what is my position and how do they feel when they are interacting with my hotel or interacting with the services over there. The data that we manage to gather through analytics can also help me or help managers to predict marketing actions, and we'll get into that in the upcoming slides. So marketing analytics can play a huge role or plays a huge role at the moment because data is everywhere. From the moment we wake up until the moment we sleep, we see brands around us, we see data flowing around us, but meanings of it needs to be interpreted and translated to understand its importance. This is why marketing analytics can play a huge role. Now, when we talk about marketing analytics, we talk about three kinds of those analytics. The first one is the descriptive marketing analytics. Descriptive marketing analytics looks at the history. Now, for me, let's give you the same example as a hotelier. I look at the history of the usage of my customers who are coming to the hotel. What did they use? What did they interact with, right? Looking at the past can help us understand how we could develop the products of the future. Second, predictive. Now, predictive looks at what will happen if I execute or implement a specific plan. For example, as the example in front of you, if I decrease the price of this service, of this room that I'm selling by 10%, what's going to happen, right? How it will affect my income, how it's going to affect the loyalty. Sometimes it will go beyond that by affecting the status of this hotel, right? The third kind or the third type is the prescriptive one. Now, it looks at what's the best can happen in all the options out there. Now, this marketing analytics, which is part of many CRMs that are available, lays out the different options that you have. It's the simplest example I could give you is when you're using, it's the simplest, Google Maps. When you want to reach from point A to point B, and then you have different pathways that takes you there, but each one gives you a different kind of time. In the real world scenario, in real world business, each decision you make has cost, right? It takes you time. So prescriptive marketing analytics provides you with those options. And when combined with AI, artificial intelligence, it also advises you which one is the one that is advised for you to take to reach it, to reach that goal based on the objectives. Now, marketing analytics and organizational success. The impact of marketing organization success has different factors. The first one would be product intelligence. Marketing analytics helps companies to understand consumers, and product intelligence is extremely important. Previously, companies used to speak with consumers through surveys, through polls, and to understand the advantages of their product. How do they feel? What does this product mean for them, right? Now, marketing analytics analyzes that through email conversation, interaction. In many ways, it also looks and analyzes the words we use. In a hotel context, marketing analytics can help you understand the satisfaction rate through analyzing products. Good, bad, awful, unhappy means a lot of things. It means that you need to do something about the particular issue that has been there, right? These keywords are extremely important, and we're going to look at that shortly. Customer trends and preferences. Knowing your customers through analytics, what messaging creative ads resonates with those customers, what products that they're buying. Basically, you try to understand what the customers or your customers are preferring at the moment, right? What kind of ads or channels that they prefer to use. That helps you to ensure that your message or your ad or your product reaches the right customers, at the right cost. Product development trend. Now, this offers insight into the type of product features consumers want. This is extremely important. I mean, a good example of that is the Apple iPhone 13, isn't it? We were all complaining about the Apple 13's 12 battery. Now, what's happened with the battery now? Everyone is happy about it. Now, they listened, and this is extremely important. Marketeers use analytics to understand what are the major issues facing those products or their products, what do customers feel about them, and then they take them back to the supply chain, to the development stage. The developments highlight them as priorities, and then goes back to the cycle of development to ensure satisfaction. Customer support, obviously, customer support plays a huge part because it uncovers areas of the buyer's journey that could be simplified. And we talk A good example would be purchasing. You like a product, you want to buy it. How simple we can make it for you. And this is extremely important. Marketing analytics can tell you how long the customer takes from the moment they enter in your place until the moment they get out buying the product. And that is extremely important. Now, we know that sometimes you enter in a shop or sometimes you enter in a hotel, and then, until the moment, from the moment you check in until the moment you get into your room, sometimes you're extremely happy because it's fast, and sometimes you're not happy. Now, analytics gives you that, and it's extremely important. While it's being adopted right now in Oman, in banks and so on, with the numbers and machines, I'm not really sure how the reports are analyzed in that sense, because the objective of this is to ensure that the customer journey is shortened and ensure higher satisfaction rate in that sense. Messaging and media, obviously understanding marketing analytics can advise in understanding the digital channels that you should be using, consumers prefer, what you should be buying, where you should be buying, competition, very important, analyzing competition. One of the first things I looked at when I integrated the marketing analytics program in the hospitality firm is looking at the competitors' rating, which reflects preference of consumers, and price. And this is extremely important. Now, price would come second priority when it comes to rating. Rating is in the service sector is status. And status is extremely important for consumers because it has meanings, it has value. Value can differ from one person to another. For some, it might be low cost, low price, while for some, it might be status, right? So what is the meaning of value for your consumer? Now, analytics can give you that based on your business. This takes us, obviously, marketing analytics is all about logic, rationale, but we are human beings here. You are trying to understand how we behave, how do we interact. And what's so interesting is that ones and zero can tell you as much. Research tells us that 93% of communication is non-verbal, right? And this is something your simple analytics program can't pick up. This is why we have a new field called emotional analytics. Now, emotional analytics is being developed continuously. A lot of companies are looking into it. And this field is basically looks at the power of emotion, because emotion has a bigger impact on brand loyalty. Emotion can justify, why are you buying that luxury good when you can get a product that can do the same thing for you, but much lesser in price? Now, emotion plays a lot of part, a big factor in that. So what is emotional analytics? It's identifying, analyzing the full human emotional spectrum, including mood, attitude, sometimes biometrics, voice text, right? How we feel, and understand the personality of the consumer. It's basically building a profile of who you are. How do you react when you are using a particular brand, using a particular product, or you're involved or interacting with a particular service? In this sense, brand or emotional analytics can measure your loyalty towards or affinity towards a particular product. And this is quite important because strong brands, they try to push themselves away from price wars. And the only way you could do that is to be positioned somewhere with a specific value that is not low-cost price, that sense. So emotional analytics can help you do that. A good example here is Honda. Now, Honda has partnered with Hitachi in 2018, and they have developed something called the sentiment analysis service that collects data from all public services channels, right? Digital media channels, word of mouth, and so on. And they want to know what customers are saying about their brand. What are they writing about them? How do they feel about them? Now, SoftBank CEO, he said the emotion engine can read human emotions. Now, Emotion Engine is developed by their company, and it's the aim of it is to read the emotions of the consumers and human emotions. We have obviously emotional analytics that is being currently adopted in cars, advanced cars. They're having those readers, face expression readers, to understand whether you are tired, whether you're sleepy, and so on, and act accordingly. Now, this is a new branch of marketing analytics that adds value and can contribute in the success of companies. Finally, I want to take you to a few pointers. As I promised, I won't be taking too long. Few pointers, important ones. So what? If you're telling us about marketing analytics, what does it mean to the organization's success? What's the proof? Now, this is a proof, what you're saying. Now, we have high performer companies and we have low performer companies. 65% of high performer companies have significant decision support analytical capabilities. 36% of them value analytical insights at a very large extent. 77% have above average analytical capability within the industry versus 33% from the low performers. 73% make decisions based on data and analysis. 40% use analytics across their entire organization. Those are high performer companies. But what happens? How do we categorize those companies in terms of the usage of marketing analytics? We have 4 categories. We have the laggards. The laggards are those companies that has basic analytics. Analytics is not part of their strategy. It's not much part on their operational plans, right? They lack the analytics strategy. They use manual ones. Then we have the followers. Followers use some sort of analytics there, right? They use analytics to inform their strategic decision, to inform their businesses. In sense, there is a problem, highlight, flag through analytics. Then we have the explorers. The explorers use, in a quite good way, marketing analytics, data analytics within their organization. But the usage is not complete, is not fully in that sense. And then we have the leaders. The leaders are those companies who use analytics in their decision making, right? The strategy is clearly defined, it's fully developed, and everything they decide on has to be backed on some sort of analytics and some sort of information that helps them. But how does this impact on their finance? How does it impact on their financial revenues and so on? Now, this report shows us a very interesting information. It shows us that laggards, if they adopt analytics, then they can increase their revenues by 81%. Followers, 55%. Explorers, 25%. Leaders, obviously, they are using analytics already. But this slide, or this shows the power of analytics in deciding organizational success and its importance. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ammar. That was Dr. Ammar Al Balushi speaking about marketing analytics and its impact on organization success.